My dad screamed "get out" at my 8-year-old and slammed the door in a thunderstorm. 3 hours later, she was in a hospital bed with hypothermia. I was already in the chair when he walked in. His hands wouldn't stop shaking. The call came at 9:37 p.m., County General Hospital. A woman's voice, professional and careful in the way that tells you she has made this kind of call before and has learned to pace the information. "We have a patient here, a minor. Her name is Lily Ingram. She was brought in by police approximately 40 minutes ago. Are you her mother?" I was sitting on the edge of a hotel bed 12 minutes away, still in my jacket, staring at the ceiling and counting the hours until my attorney could file paperwork in the morning. I had been in that room for 3 hours. I had not turned on the television. I had not eaten. I had been doing the specific suspended waiting of someone who has done everything they can do tonight and has nothing left to do but endure the time between now and when the next thing becomes possible. My daughter was at my parents' house, 12 minutes away. "Yes," I said. "I'm her mother." I was out the door before the woman finished her next sentence. "My name is Sarah Ingram. I am 31 years old. I spent 6 years in the United States Army, which is where Lily was born, which is where I learned the specific practical form of love that involves preparing for your own absence, packing go bags, updating emergency contacts, making sure that anyone who might need to find your child can find her, that there is always a thread running from her back to you no matter how far the distance." The night before my last deployment, I opened the front pocket of Lily's purple backpack, the one with the reflective strip along the bottom, and I clipped a small laminated card to the zipper pull. Military dependent ID, my name, my phone number, a small American flag in the corner. "This tells anyone who finds you that you belong to me," I told her. She was 5 years old. She nodded the way 5-year-olds nod when they are taking something seriously and want you to know it. I deployed the next morning. I am telling you about the card because it matters. It matters specifically. It matters precisely. It matters in the way that a small piece of plastic can become the most important object in a story. I will come back to it. Lily's father, my ex-husband, was out of the picture before she turned 2. Not dramatically, not with conflict, just the quiet dissolution of a marriage between two people who had been young and certain and turned out to be wrong about the certainty. He signed over full custody with the particular relief of someone who loves his child and has the honesty to understand he is not equipped to raise her. He sends birthday cards. He has never missed a payment. He is not the person this story is about. My parents, Dale and Connie Ingram, had agreed to care for Lily during my last tour. This was not a small thing to ask, and I understood it was not a small thing. I had asked carefully. I had made arrangements carefully. I had set up a family care plan through the Army that outlined every detail of Lily's care: medical decisions, school enrollment, emergency contacts, the specific procedures that would govern her life in my absence. I had had my attorney, Maria Rivera, review the plan. I had had my parents sign it. Rivera had 15 years of family law practice. She had told me when I engaged her, "Document everything. Don't confront them. If you go in angry, they'll play victim." I had been documenting for 2 months before the storm. I need to tell you what I was documenting, because the card in the backpack and the documentation and the hotel room and the storm are all part of one story, and you need all of it to understand any of it. The first sign was a phone call from Lily's school counselor in October. Margaret Ewan, school counselor, 11 years with the district, the kind of professional who phrases things carefully because she understands what she's seeing and what it means if she's right. She called to tell me that Lily had been drawing pictures in her sessions that were, in her professional assessment, worth noting. That Lily had mentioned on 2 occasions that she was afraid of making Grandpa angry, that she had used the word "sent away" in a context that gave the counselor pause. I was overseas when the call came. I took it in a corner of the communications bay at 2 a.m. local time, and I listened to every word, and I wrote it down in the notebook I kept for exactly this purpose. I filed the note. I filed the date. I filed Margaret Ewan's name and credentials and direct contact number. The second sign was the pickup logs. My parents had agreed to a specific schedule for school pickup. There were 3 instances in November and December where the pickup time deviated by more than 40 minutes, and in 2 of those instances, Lily had been collected by my cousin Jenna's son Tyler, who was 11 years old, too young to be a designated pickup, not on the approved list, not something I had agreed to. I found out because Lily mentioned it in one of our video calls, offhandedly, the way children mention things they don't yet understand are significant. I documented it. I told Rivera. She noted it. The third sign was the drawings. Lily's school counselor sent me photographs of them in sequence, 6 months of drawings from September through February. Rivera had asked her to preserve them in order, dated, as part of the documentation file. September. Lily and Tyler at a table, both smiling, a drawing of ordinary childhood. December. My father's face in red crayon, mouth wide open, rendered in the specific way that children render angry faces when they are drawing from memory. A tiny figure at the bottom of the page, blue dots for tears. February. 2 stick figures holding hands, no background, nothing else. Caption in Lily's handwriting, the careful, uneven letters of a child who has recently learned to write, "What I want." The 2 figures were me and her. She had drawn me in my uniform. I looked at that drawing for a long time on a screen 10,000 miles away. I contacted Rivera. "I'm coming home early. I'm submitting the paperwork this week." She said, "Good. Don't tell them. Don't call your parents before you're on the ground. Come straight to the hotel. We'll file in the morning." I had been in the hotel room for 3 hours when the phone rang. County General's pediatric ward was was on the 3rd floor. The elevator took 11 seconds. I counted them. The nurse at the station, a woman named Dana, charge nurse, the kind of person who holds difficult situations together through competence and steadiness, met me at the elevator with Lily's chart and walked me down the hall and told me what they knew. Lily had been found by Officer Kevin Marsh, 8 years on the force, the patrol officer who had responded to the 911 call from a neighbor. He had found her in a storm drain 2 blocks from my parents' house. She had crawled into it sometime around 6:30 in the evening. She had been there for approximately 3 hours when his flashlight caught the reflective strip on the bottom of her backpack. Her lips were blue. Core temperature, 95.1 degrees Fahrenheit. Mild to moderate hypothermia. They had her on warming blankets, fluids, a monitor that beeped green and steady. She was conscious. She had been asking for me since she arrived. Dana showed me the card. The nurse who had admitted Lily had found it clipped to the zipper pull of the purple backpack. A small laminated rectangle. Military dependent ID, my name in the mother field, my phone number. "This is how we reached you," Dana said. I sat down in the chair beside the bed. Lily was in a hospital gown, small and pale against the white of the pillow, an IV in the back of her left hand. She had star print pajama pants on, the ones she'd gotten for Christmas, the ones she had been wearing, I understood now, when she left the house. No shoes, no jacket. I put my hand over hers very carefully, around the IV. She opened her eyes. "Mama, I'm here," I said. "I've been here for an hour." She pressed her face against my hand and went back to sleep. My father walked through the door at 10:49 p.m. He came in the way he comes into rooms, ahead of himself with the particular forward-leading energy of a man who expects space to be made for him. He had my mother behind him and Jenna slightly further back, and he was already speaking before he fully registered the room. "Connie, she's going to need—" He saw Lily. Then he saw me. His hands started shaking, both of them at his sides, a visible fine tremor that he could not control. The color left his face in the specific, rapid way that happens when a body responds to shock before the mind has processed it. He stopped, started again. "You can't be here, you're deployed." "I've been here for an hour, Dad." He looked at me with something I couldn't name for a moment, and then I could name it. He was recalculating. He was running the numbers on everything he had done and said in the time he had believed I was overseas, and the numbers were not coming out in his favor. "The girl stole your mother's necklace," he said. His voice had a different quality than his usual voice. Tighter, faster. "Tyler saw her. She'd been caught before with—" "No, she didn't. Tyler specifically. We're not doing this in this room." I stood up. I want to be precise about this because it was not a dramatic gesture, and it was not an angry one. I simply stood up from the chair beside my daughter's bed, and I was in my jacket, and I was completely still, and my father stopped talking. "CPS will be contacting you tomorrow," I said. "I think you should leave now." He looked at Lily. He looked at me. He looked at the monitor blinking green. He left. My mother followed without speaking. Jenna paused in the doorway for a moment and looked at me with an expression that might have been something, recognition, apology, I wasn't sure, and then she was gone too. I sat back down beside my daughter. I did not sleep that night. The CPS investigator's name was Carmen Torres, 14 years on the job with the county's Child Protective Services Division. She came to the hospital the following morning while Lily was still admitted, which is where I met her for the first time. A compact woman in her early 40s with a legal pad, a digital recorder, and the particular quality of attention of someone who has spent 14 years learning to tell the difference between a family in crisis and a family that is the crisis. She interviewed me first. Then she arranged separate interviews with my parents and with Jenna, and she brought in a child specialist named Dr. Alicia Reyes, 12 years in pediatric trauma-informed assessment, to interview Tyler and Lily separately, because children are interviewed by specialists and not by investigators, because that is how it is done when it is done correctly. I know what came out of those interviews because Torres presented her findings later, and because some of it came out in the room in ways I was told about afterward. My father's version, he had told Lily to sit on the porch. My mother's version, Lily had gone outside for air. One was a command, one was a choice. They could not both be true. Torres noted this in her report. The neighbor, Mrs. Phyllis Calloway, had called 911 the night of the storm. Torres went to her. Phyllis Calloway had been writing things down since November. Dates and times and what she heard through the shared wall of the semi-detached houses. She had a spiral notebook. She had been uncertain whether to call anyone until the night of the storm, when she had heard my father's voice clearly and had seen Lily walk out the front door in her pajamas. Her statement, which Torres later confirmed as a written, signed document in the case file, described what she had heard through the wall. My father's voice, the front door opening, a child's backpack being pushed at her, star print pajamas, no shoes, and the words, "Get out. I don't need a lying granddaughter." Then the door slamming, then silence. Torres wrote it in block letters and underlined it. Tyler's interview with Dr. Reyes lasted 20 minutes. I was not in the room. I was in the waiting area with Rivera, who had come that morning with her files and her 15 years of family law practice and the specific calm efficiency of someone who has been waiting for the morning to file paperwork, and the morning has arrived with more than she expected. Dr. Reyes came out after 20 minutes. She found Torres first, spoke to her quietly. Torres came to me. "The boy recanted," she said. "He says he put the necklace in Lily's bag himself. He says he was told that if Lily got in trouble, she'd be sent away." The room didn't spin. My vision didn't blur. I felt my hands go flat on my knees and I pressed them there, and I breathed through my nose the way you breathe when you need to stay completely level because there is still work to do and you cannot afford to to not do it. What happened with the mother? I asked. Jenna tried to interrupt the interview. Dr. Reyes stopped it. Torres paused. We'll be noting that in the report. Rivera opened her folder and we went to work. The meeting at the CPS office was held 6 days after Lily was discharged from the hospital. A conference room, a rectangular table, a recording device in the center, which Torres had placed there and identified at the start of the meeting for all parties present. My father and his attorney, a man named Gerald Park, were across from me. My mother beside him, Rivera beside me, Torres at the head. Torres presented her findings methodically. Mrs. Calloway's written statement. Tyler's recantation documented by Dr. Reyes. The school counselor's reports from October through February. The hospital records. Officer Marsh's incident report. The pickup log discrepancies. Each item placed on the table. Each item documented, dated, sourced. My father interrupted twice. Each time, Gerald Park put a hand on his arm and my father stopped. The third time, he couldn't hold it. This is a family matter. His voice had the quality of a man who has spent a lifetime using that phrase to close conversations. Family matter. 2 words that have ended 1,000 discussions that should not have been ended. Torres looked at him across the recording device. Mr. Ingram, an 8-year-old child was hospitalized with hypothermia after being sent out of your home in pajamas in a thunderstorm at night. This is a child welfare matter. He opened his mouth. Gerald Park's hand went to his arm again. Rivera opened my folder. Family care plan revocation. Sole custody request. Filed that morning with supporting documentation. Emergency protective order granted by Judge Helen Watts 2 days prior, restricting unsupervised access. She placed each document on the table. My father stared at the stack of paper the way you stare at something you have miscalculated. Not with anger, not with grief, but with the specific, recalibrating stillness of someone understanding that the landscape has changed permanently. You're going to throw your own family away over this. His voice had gone quieter, less the authority voice, and more something underneath it. You threw my daughter into a storm, I said. My voice did not waver. I had practiced levelness for 6 years in the Army, and I had practiced it for the 2 months I'd spent building this file, and I had it now, completely, in the way you have things that have been trained into you. I'm building her a roof. Torres delivered her findings. Substantiated neglect. Substantiated emotional harm. No unsupervised access to Lily Ingram by Dale or Connie Ingram pending further review. Supervised visitation only, 2 hours, every other Saturday, with a social worker present. Jenna. No unsupervised access pending Tyler's ongoing assessment with Dr. Reyes. My father stood up. His hands were shaking again. The same fine tremor as in the hospital room. He looked at the table. At the revocation, the custody order, the witness statements, the drawings, the December drawing, the red crayon, the tiny figure with blue dots for tears. Rivera had included a copy in the file. Torres had included a copy in hers. He looked at that drawing for a long moment. Then he closed his mouth. He walked out without another word. My mother followed. In the lobby, Lily was with a family advocate named Ms. Patricia Walsh, who had been sitting with her during the meeting with crayons and a stack of paper and the patient. Unhurried attention of someone who understands that the most useful thing she can do in this moment is simply be present. Lily saw me come through the door. She ran. She pressed her face into my jacket, hard, both arms around my waist, her backpack bumping against my leg, the purple one, the reflective strip on the bottom catching the fluorescent lobby light. I put my arms around her and I stood there. After a moment, she looked up. Are we going home? Our home? Our home. Yes, I said. We're going home 6 months later. We are in the apartment I rented the week after the CPS meeting. 2 bedrooms, a small yard, a school district I researched carefully and chose for the quality of its counseling program, which tells you something about what I prioritize. Lily started 3rd grade in September. Margaret Ewan, her school counselor, forwarded me an email from her new counselor, a woman named Dr. Sandra Kim, 8 years in school-based trauma-informed care, that said Lily was doing well, that the drawings were different now, that she had drawn a picture of our apartment from the outside with a star in the window of her bedroom, which she had told Dr. Kim represented the star print pajamas she had been wearing the night of the storm, which she wanted to remember differently. I thought about that for a long time. I am back at work, a logistics coordination role at a veteran services nonprofit, which uses most of what the Army taught me and none of what I want to leave behind. The hours are reasonable. I am home by 5:30. The supervised visitation has happened twice, 2 hours each time, social worker present, at a neutral location. My father sits across from Lily at a table and they color or play a card game, and he is careful in the way of someone who is being watched, which is different from being careful for its own sake, but is what is available right now. Lily goes because I have told her she doesn't have to stay if she doesn't want to, and both times she has stayed for the full 2 hours, and both times she has gotten in the car afterward and said she was okay. And I have believed her because she tells me things now in the way children tell you things when they know you're listening. My mother has not come to the supervised visits. She sent a card to Lily's birthday in October. Lily read it, set it down, and went back to her book. I noted the action and said nothing. Rivera tells me the custody order will be reviewed in February. She tells me our position is strong. The purple backpack is still in use. Lily takes it to school every day. The card is still clipped to the zipper pull, laminated, slightly worn at one corner from 3 years of backpack life, my name in the mother field, my phone number, a small American flag. I put it there the night before I deployed because I wanted there to always be a thread running from her back to me, a piece of paper that said whose daughter she was, a storm drain in the dark, a police officer's flashlight catching the reflective strip, a nurse reading a card to find a phone number when everyone else failed her, a small piece of plastic remembered, it still does.